This is me giving y'all, are y'all there?
Mm-hmm. We're here.
No, because we're on. This is me. Because we're on YouTube Live right now. And y'all are on YouTube Live with me right now. This is beautiful. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody who is here watching this
Thumbs
YouTube.
up, everybody.
You know, it's not every day that I get a chance to do a Zoom live on YouTube, especially to the public. If you're watching, if you're new to this channel, hi. I am known as Astro Einstein. For those who know me personally, you would call me Michi, Demetrio, whatever you feel comfortable calling me. And these people who are on this live with me are what I consider my chronic supporters. These are the ones who, when I need to make a trip to Canada, Africa, Europe, South America, United States, they are the ones who support that quest. And I truly appreciate them. And this is me saying, you know what? I just do this on Facebook. I'm gonna do this for my tribe. You feel me? Because I know some of y'all have some situations, and I know a lot of you are very, very private, you know. But I feel like sometimes our privacy could be to our own detriment. Because you could be going through something that most people are going through as well. And your answers could be their answers too. So I'm just happy that y'all were bold enough to come on the Zoom and show your face. You know, I see we got, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have people coming on as we speak. We'll bring you all on, just sit inside in the waiting for a bit. So check this out. Everybody have questions about this new topic, this old topic that's been revamped up, which is past lives and astrology, numerology. But we can have a discussion first before we get into doing a little bit of the astro. So I realized, and tell me if I'm telling you the truth, I've realized that there's been different ways of people who focus on spirituality, and for different reasons. I've noticed a wave of people who got into spirituality just for spell work, Like they want to, do a love spell for their lover, or somebody did them wrong, so they want a spell to deal with them, or they want to, what's the other spell? Return the sender spell, or put them in a honey jar. Well, all these other stuff I've been hearing, you know what I mean? And they got into spirituality and they were like, you know what? That's what they resonated with. How do y'all feel about that era of people doing stuff like that, like about, for spell work? I'm not saying it's about a good thing, good and bad are very subjective. But how do y'all feel about it? I want to know from your perspective, what do you feel about, persons wanting to get into spirituality just for that? Somebody who want to put your hand up, you want me to ask a question, I'll call your name, but if you feel the need to open up and say, how do y'all feel about it?
Well, I kind of feel that whatever leads you to come into your spirituality, I believe that's what God actually does to bring you forward. Now, how you mature in it is all up to you going forward. But like you said, all of us that are on here were led to be here. And it's up to us to work forward to become stronger and to be more enlightened and to use it to what universe allowed us to use it for.
Damn, I didn't bargain for that answer. That was a good one. I think that was a remarkable response, Ms. Worley. That was extremely, very enlightening. What about anybody else? How do y'all feel about it?
I feel the same way. I feel that sometimes the universe will dangle something in front of you like a carrot just to lead you to where you need to be.
I think you're definitely right about that. I've noticed that is definitely true. Some people come to spirituality for different reasons, Some are just tired of the system. Some people got a heart broken, felt as if nobody will understand them. Some people were at their life's wit end, don't know how they're gonna get a meal, and just went and seek for this higher thing. But you also have some of those who come into it because of conspiracies. All right? Conspiracy theories led a lot of people to spirituality, believe it or not. Because now you're trying to figure out if this group of people is doing this to this group of persons, could you imagine what they've been doing to us for years? So you started to be like, you know what, let me get on the inside. Let me start to discover about me, because these people are going to be continuing to manipulate me if I don't, if I don't get on my P's and Q's. And that's truly how it is. I'm gonna tell you what brought me into it. Just, I don't know. I feel like I always was into it from a child. But what got me back into it was a heartbreak, Like I was like, damn, I gotta get back to me. Hey, Songbird, you got a question?
No, I was gonna say that some people got into spirituality just based off of a trend. It's become a trendy thing to be into or want to know about. And I think that has created a lot of, I don't want to say discord, but it's created a persona to where I feel like spirituality, they're trying to give it a bad name or connotation.
All right.
So I was just answering the question that was.
So you think it's just a fad? It's just a fashion thing?
For some, yeah.
Wow.
Nothing's by accident. Nothing in life is by accident.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel that way. All right. I feel like, sometimes good and bad are very subjective based upon who's looking at it. Anything could go any way. What's good for me could be bad for you. It could be bad for me. It's good for you. I asked that question at the beginning because I've been brought into the same information about, but people only getting into this because of that or so and so. And I say, yeah, I'm not the one to judge, to be honest with you. I got into this back as a grown up because, I felt like I need to make sure that I know who I am and who God is, and nobody could understand me. So to each his own. This same sweater is a testimony of how I felt. I felt like an alien. I felt like there's nobody who could understand me other than me. But now I got y'all in my life now. I feel like I got some other aliens, you know what I mean? And we got some more aliens up in the place. So that So this is me. This is my day to just chat with y'all, see how y'all doing, see what's going on with y'all. And I only need I only need your date of birth and time of birth and place of birth, to be honest with you. But I don't go digging into your lives every day. I want to tell you now, I got my own life to deal with. Okay, which is very, very filled. You have no idea. Okay. Very filled. Me, like real talk. So, but this is my moment. And if y'all are not too shy, because you got people watching you on YouTube, and people are gonna be watching this in YouTube. All right. Got close to almost I got 10,000 YouTube, close to 10,000 people subscribe. There's gonna be people who watch this. So, but what I'm gonna do is we're gonna be going over your charts. Who's open? Who's willing to that? Who's open to that? Who's open to me, get some of your questions answered?
That's why we here.
I'm open.
Now,
Let's
for
go.
some of y'all who are
Let's
in
get
the
it.
tribe, if you are watching and you are in the Astro Tribe or the Cosmic Soul Tribe, there is a link in the community page, on my YouTube channel. You can click that link and then it'll take you to this Zoom link, and I will accept you in. It's not just for a specific, it's for the Astro and Cosmic Soul Tribe. If you are a part of that and you're listening, just go back into my YouTube, go on to the community page, and there's 2 announcements, 3, whatever it may be. Click on the one that has the YouTube link, and then we'll go from there. All right. So y'all follow me on Facebook too. Y'all see I've been going asteroid crazy. I've been going asteroid crazy because I want everybody to understand about asteroids. That you're not just your sun sign, you're not just your moon, your Venus, your Mercury, your Mars, your Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, Pluto, and Chiron, Juno. You are everything, the universe encapsulated in a physical body. Now, I always tell people to go and learn your universe. Go and learn your universe. You know what I mean? Your universe is your universe. The moment you were born is your universe. That's your world. That's your galaxy. Learning that and understanding that gives you the keys to your whole life. That's the keys to your life. All right? Y'all ever heard of the tree of life? This is truly the tree of life. What they say, the tree of wisdom and knowledge. All right? Or the tree of good and evil, whatever you want to consider that. This, or any information that helps you to understand you, is that tree. Okay? So learning, I know 1, 2, so most everybody that's on this live, it's actually almost not everybody, but most everybody is a student of mine in astrology. I feel proud. You always like, I'm gonna click on because this is gonna be awesome. So let's get to it. So let's start with the asking of questions. Before I get into anybody's chart, what questions y'all got about astrology or anything of that nature? Put your hand up. I get to choose exactly who's going to ask. If you got a question as it pertains to astrology, come right ahead. Let's talk about it before we get into, asking or checking on your charts. Because trust me, I'm sure there are going to be questions that pop up in your mind either about your chart or somebody else's chart or what have you, because that's what it is. But I would start off by saying this. The time of birth in any chart is important. Time of birth in any chart is important. What I've learned from even Vedic astrology, and even though I do what we call rectification of a chart, in Vedic astrology, even the exact time is important because you could be able to predict certain things happening the moment it does. So if that is the case, how do y'all feel about free will and fate? Like free will and fated. How do y'all feel about free will? That's what I want to know. How do y'all feel about free will? Do y'all think it's a real thing, or you think it's a pigment of your imagination?
I feel it's real.
Yep, I do feel it's real. I
You feel
think
it's real?
Yes, sir. I think the free will, when we have free will, that's the seed, that's like the application phase. So we're applying all of the lessons that we've learned throughout various lifetimes to see if we've actually grown from those experiences and see how we're going to choose. And then the fated is the assessment. So here's your score. So this is what you're going to get based on those free will lives.
Okay, all right. That's, that's my understanding of it, but I'm gonna throw a wrench in the wheel with your. So anybody else has a different perspective? Who feels as if it's that there isn't free will really? Everybody
I
feels.
think there is, even though your chart shows you being more prone to doing things a certain way. I think you still have a decision on if you're going to go that way or if you're going to learn some new information and maybe decide, I don't really want to do what they predict I'll do. I want to do this over here. So that's kind of where my thoughts are on that.
Okay, so check this out. Like I said, I'm gonna make your minds think really, really big on this one. All right, so I think I discussed this before on my Facebook. Let's just say that let's just say I created a yard. And in this yard, I'm talking about 10 acres. Oh, so this is what I want to say. Do y'all feel as if people in prison have free will?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Even though their movements may be restricted, they can still use their mind and their spirit to learn and grow and transmute that experience into a positive thing.
Okay. So when you say that their free will is fated?
That means the experience that they're having was fated, but they still can use that free will to grow from that fated experience.
See, but then that sort of redefines what free will is, the way you said it just now. Because then you'd say that free will isn't really the action, it's the observation of the action, correct? That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, because if you think about it, let's just say I say that I'm making this plate, and there's a big old plate, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put like 3 ants. You know what? Let me make it 9 ants on this plate. I make the plate so big, and I put a dome over it, and I say, because they got the free will to move around on that plate, don't they? They could go left, go right, but do they really have free will, or are they fated to be on the plate?
Are they fated to be? You put them on the plate, so that is not their free will.
What if they got on the plate because they didn't do what their mom and daddy told them to do, and it's a consequence of their actions?
Mm-hmm. Come on now.
Say it again. What if they what?
What if them being on that plate is them not doing, like, let's say, what their mom and daddy told them to do, and this is a consequence of not listening to the guidance they were given?
Mm-hmm.
Then that would be considered free will.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, before you came here, didn't you decide on that before you came here?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you deciding on your mom and dad, and didn't you decide on you being stubborn? So even though you think there's free will, is it really free will?
But you still change that even though you decided on it? So wouldn't that be an absolute free will? to change.
Do you see how thin the line becomes with free will and fated?
Mhm.
Can you elaborate on fated?
So fated is something that is destined to happen. Meaning that was written in the stars before you even had the opportunity to do it. See, the thing is, free will and fate are really one and the same. And it sounds crazy, right?
It sounds like balance.
It sounds like what?
It sounds like balance or duality.
Free will and fate, according to what I've discovered through my knowledge that I've experienced, is one and the same. There's no separation between fated and free will. Because in spirit, they think about it, if all of it starts from spirit, if spirit is the beginning, it's the essence. If essence is everything in the beginning. And if your essence, your spirit, your consciousness shows every moment as a human being before you came here, really, that wouldn't your experience on earth be fated by a free will that was fated? Some deep shit, ain't it? And, you know, I realized that some people we like to perpetuate the thought, the idea of free will, you know, this is fated. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. If we are all source, we are all connected, right? We don't have any choice in that, do we? What we do have the choice is observing, because we observe sometimes that we observe that we are in different bodies. So we observe that we are separate. Even though source, we are actually connected. So our observation based upon the facts, or I should say the true reality, can be distorted. So true reality can be distorted as either being fated or free will. And let me elaborate by that. So your true reality is you are essence. Your true reality is you are consciousness. Your true reality is, like we said, there is no separation. Consciousness does not have a barrier. This physical body we have is an illusion of a barrier. It only can hold so much of consciousness at a particular time. So that's I would say a barrier to some degree. So with that being said, as it pertains to the true reality is that we're not separate, right? But the distortion of our physical bodies being in separate time and separate places creates, you know, that distortion. The same way as you being a child and you being now seems to be separate. You see those two different timelines. But what y'all have seen inside these past life regressions that I've done is that there is not really a separation in time. Even that is an illusion, because your past life and this one are being experienced at the exact same time. You know, these are deep thoughts, deep things to think about every day. That's what happens with me. I go through these thoughts all the time, and I'm like, this is very enlightening. You know, how can you explain this to people and they not, you know, be like, no. Hey, Songbird, you got a question?
It wasn't really a question. Well, it is, but okay. So every soul comes from source, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does every avatar have a soul?
Good question. Good question. Now, what you would consider a soul would be a portion of consciousness. You see, a soul is just consciousness split. A soul can be merged to forming one, like clay, like putty. right? If you break off a piece, you say, this is a soul. And you break off a piece of that big piece of clump, you say, this is a soul. And then when you mash that together, what you gonna say? That's a soul. Because it's all together, right or wrong. And you can take another piece, and you can separate it. And when you put that together, all together, you're gonna say, and let's just say use the word clay. You can say this is clay, that's clay, put it together, that's one clay. And that's how consciousness is. Right? Now, with your question, which is a really, really good one. I like that. That was really deep, Deja. But I want for clarity. For clarity's sake, I want to make a statement before we even get into the answer to your question. The soul is a very complex thing to the point where we're still discovering it. We're still figuring out what we are as a soul, who we are as a soul. I realize that who I am, or who this is, this persona that you think is Astro or Demetria or Amici, is a conglomerate of souls. You are a conglomerate of souls, conglomerate of essence. Each body is a portion of source. But like you said, doesn't mean that each have a consciousness. But this physical avatar that we have cannot operate or have not been operating without essence, without consciousness. When this physical avatar as human beings was designed, it was designed to work and operate only with consciousness attached. You see, whether that be one small consciousness, like a little piece of clay popping in there, it needs a spark. You see that same, whenever they say they took these videos of people dying and they saw this little light flicker and leave the body, that's a spark, that's subconsciousness, what they consider a soul. That is needed in these physical avatars. This is the reason why we have stillborns when they're born. For no apparent reason, they've been heart rate was there, just beating, and come out and there's no motion. Because that soul or that consciousness have changed their mind on experiencing that experience and chose another body. They got some people say these people are soulless. That's not true. Consciousness is pertinent to the physical avatar that we use. They were designed to host consciousness and to keep it to some degree trapped in it until it's passing. I hope that answers your question. All right, Jerry, I see you got a question. What's your question, Jerry? You muted. Oh, all right.
I was trying to unmute. Apologies. So that was a great question, Deja. So again, just for clarification, they're stillborn because they didn't get that spark. Right? Is that what you said?
Yes. Now, there's also the function before you go into that, what I left off is what I've had and saw in experiences of doing these regressions and going into spirit world is that sometimes there is a default consciousness, like one would have. So everything has consciousness, right? Even fish, deers, cow, plants, all these things have, they may not hold as much consciousness as the human body, but they all have a spark. Sometimes those consciousness of those what we consider animals or plants are holding the space for bigger consciousness to hop in a body. So sometimes you would realize that some children just seem empty, that you don't connect with the child or whatever that may be. Some people have that experience. And that's because there is a spark just holding that space for a bigger consciousness to fill that body. And sometimes, you know, that consciousness could leave that body, you know, between the ages of 0 to 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, and what have you. So there are moments where it happens, but that does not last forever until a consciousness is zipped into that body. So that's what I'm going to say. So go. I know I didn't mean to cut you off on that one, but go ahead.
Oh no, I appreciate the in-depth explanation. But I asked a question months ago, and you like for us to figure stuff out and research, which I appreciate. But when we change avatars, does the higher self stay the same? Or do we get a new higher self?
That's a good question. I would answer that like this. And I always start my conversation with the data that I have received.
I was living in 2003.
Hey, Miss Jasmine, can you put your phone on me? There you go.
Sorry.
It's all right. I got you. All right. So the question is, can you repeat the question again so they could stick in my head?
Yes, sir, absolutely. When we reincarnate and get a new avatar, does the higher self change? Do we get a new higher self with the new avatar, or does the higher self remain the same?
So the higher self is what I would consider a sub-portion of the collective consciousness. All right. Your higher self does not change. The only thing that happens is it absorbs more knowledge.
It grows.
It grows, exactly. It grows. So you don't get a new consciousness. You just get a new avatar. An avatar, I would say, it's like when you buy a new car. The same person driving the car, it's just that the car changed. You may have changed your style. You may have gotten richer. You know what? I don't want to drive this jalopy no more. This lemon. You know what I feel like driving? I want to drive me, you know, an Escalade, a little bigger, you know, to fit all this stuff I got. And it's the same way with your avatar. And your higher self chooses the amount of consciousness that is needed for that avatar.
For that specific lifetime.
Right. And it's according to what you're. So check this out. In this lifetime, I am me. You know, I'm just going to use me as I am, you know, astro, whatever you want to call it. And let's just say source says, you know, or higher self says, you know, this is me. This is what I got. I am this amount of the collective consciousness. And I need about maybe half or even 3/4 of this to experience a life as astro, because he's going to come up. He's going to experience many connections to many persons. He's going to help or do some things that, you know, most people haven't done. He won't have an ordinary life. So we need this amount of consciousness to be able to experience and so we can share this wisdom or knowledge so that it can expand more, so more people can expand, we can expand, so on. So this is what amount I'm using. Now, even though that's my higher self, right? Let's just say this avatar dies and all of this consciousness go back into this higher self. And higher self says, I just need 20 versions, or I just need somebody with a normal life to experience, being a beggar on the streets, or being being somebody who was a guard for the queen or the king, somebody who doesn't need all of that consciousness, that expansion. We just needed to be a job and an experience. So a little bit of that piece that was astro, a little small fragment, is going to go into this human being. They're going to experience that and have small recollections that the astro, or the person who was astro, poured into that higher self. So now he has a database of information that he could tap into, because his higher self was expanded by experiencing another physical body or physical avatar that hosted and experienced more consciousness by expanding itself. But that doesn't make that one particular experience less than experiencing of astro. It's all for the collective. And even if you break off that higher self into 100 people, or what you would consider fragments, they all have essence of that higher self. So sometimes when we're tapping into higher self, we can also be tapping into consciousness that exists in different parts of the world at the exact same time. Your fragments. Those fragments are experiencing human experiences that you can tap into and say, you know what? I wonder, and you say to yourself, should I make a decision on going on this train and what may happen? And the higher self say, don't go on that train. Why? Why you shouldn't go on that train? Because parts of you already know, and you're tapping into that whole collective consciousness, and you're thinking it's just you. This is why the illusion of separation is something that needs to be wiped away. Because you're not, say it again?
That sparked another question. So my fragments have my higher self.
They have access to your higher self. And you, because your higher self is not individual. See, we think in our mind, it's my higher self. Mine. It's me, my higher self. So we even take that possessiveness, that ownership, into something that doesn't have ownership.
So it's our higher self.
Our higher self. When y'all say, my ancestors don't play about me, and I'm like, that's just your ancestor? You better get with it. That's not just your ancestors, sugar. That's all our ancestors. As a matter of fact, it's all our consciousness. You is just taking ownership and what is not actually yours.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're
so smart. You is smart. You is kind.
Thank you.
You is impotent.
Impotent.
You're potent. All right, Rakima, I see you got a question.
Yeah, so that made me go even deeper, and I hope I'm not going too deep. So, all right, I already know about the higher self, right? Now you have your avatar, right? And as you grow, your avatar may change. Am I correct?
Right.
Right. Now, when or if you, like, let's say a spell has been put on you, or black magic is put on you, does that actually stop your avatar from growing or changing? And then once you are released, you are allowed to go into your next phase?
So check this out. Before you came here, before you chosen to be Rakima Worley, you chose every experience before you came here. Even moments of black magic, even moments of situations being placed in front of you that may either keep you stagnant or you grow from. So even in that is growth. You didn't happen to be a victim of black magic. Does it make sense what I'm saying here?
No, it makes sense. But the question is, do your avatar change, or it's that's just your assignment?
So the avatar, when you say avatar change, do you mean like, I'm trying to understand what you mean by that. You mean like after you die?
No.
Like, so so check this out. You're in an ever evolving state, ever evolving, even physically, right? Even when you're looking at astrology, you have a natal chart and you have a progress chart. As your chart progresses, your physical avatar change when your ascendant change. Did you know that? So your avatar changes as time go on. That is something that is preset.
Right.
Right.
But that's where that question had came in, right? So your avatar doesn't change when you are still under that, I guess, spell or that phase. That's what I'm saying.
You say spell. You mean spell as in like casting, somebody casts a spell?
Yes.
Does your avatar change? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing stops your avatar from changing.
Gotcha.
Not even a spell.
Gotcha.
A spell, because a spell does not stop the universe. And the universe is what is showing you how you're progressing. Based upon your natal chart, the universe is still moving. You could have 1,000 spells put on you, and the universe is still moving, which does not stop your progress regardless. I mean, I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Yep, totally answered the question.
Yeah, because in this world, and I know that we got so used to this idea of, and not in connection to what you're saying. We get so used to this idea of my and me and minds and this and that we even forget that we can't even own spirit. You can't own source. You are source. You ever go about saying, I own my own body? Think about it. Have you ever said, I own this? You've never done that. This is mine. I own this. This is my body. You say this is my body, but do you ever say that this is I own my soul? No. You don't even fathom the thought of it. I can give $10 to one of y'all who say that you've said that before. None of you've never said that. Because you don't own a soul. You hear everybody say that, though. You heard people say that. You don't own a soul. That is so true. You say it a lot, but you don't even know you say. You don't even say, I own my soul. You never say, I own my soul. But you say, I don't own a soul. Because you don't. You don't own your own. You don't own nobody else's own. There's nothing to be owned. Hey, Songbird.
Okay, so with the progress chart and your appearance progressing and changing, does that mean that, let's say, someone who's underweight or overweight, and they're striving to get their weight to a certain spot, it's kind of irrelevant because whatever they got going on is in their damn chart?
I don't. That's the point. That's the point we talked about the illusion of free will and fated. We go right back to that same thought right there. In our mind, we got the free will to try to change it, and then you're fated to stay that way. See, you see what I'm saying? So even if you try to lose this weight, you feel better knowing that you've tried, than opposed to just sitting inside there and saying, damn, I'm just fated. It gives a sense of hopelessness. And hopelessness is very, very detrimental. Because hopelessness can cause you to stand in front of a train track and say,
Fuck it.
let me just don't live. Let me just don't do anything. You know, it's just hopeless. Why am I even here? I'm going to be fat anyway. I'm going to be out of shape. And why should I be here? I'm not smart. I don't have a job. So hopelessness, you know, so I would say that your circumstance, your free will is the ability to observe and to experience with either fear or love. You see, and that's where it comes
That's
from.
good. That's good.
Who said, oh, you were Rakima, you said that's good? Yeah, because, you know, you either say to yourself, I love my body, or you could say, huh? Or you could say, I don't like how I look because people don't like me. I don't know if I'm going to be accepted by this. That's fair. You know, you either observe with fear or love. That's the only choice. That's the only free will that we have. The only free will that we have is the choice of observing by fear or love. Period. Point blank. Some people continue to choose to observe through fear. That's why when we use the term, either you're living in love or living in fear. That's really, really and truthfully, that's all we got. Now, there's a default, you know, when you press the alternate button, the control button, and delete button, right? You get a factory, you know, I should say, to go beyond the programming. The programming that you have is your soul can reprogram. You can tap into your higher self, which is the collective consciousness of what you attach to, and say, I want to change the circumstance of this. So the only way you could really have a change of that fated is if you tap into your collective consciousness, your higher self, and reprogram your life. But that takes actually operating in love and not fear. So there's a very, very intrinsic way of doing that. You literally have to, even if you want your life to be a certain way, you can't even attack it from a position of fear. And that's what most people don't know. They thinking, oh, I'm gonna manifest my life the way I want it because why? Are you manifesting that because you fear the way you're living now? Or are you manifesting that because that's how you would love to live? That's the reason why some people manifestation, some of their, you know, visions that they want for their life do not even take place because they're really manifesting through fear.
Good stuff. Come on now.
Listen.
Yeah, so that's a real hard pill to swallow for some people. And no matter how much you try to tell them it, they just operate the same way, you know? Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So, I mean, and that's, and like I said, that's my truth. I don't expect for everybody to follow that truth, but if it resonates with you, if it resonates what I'm saying with you, then your truth is my truth. And I truly feel like if you're on this live, if you're watching, that we are in sync, that we are of one mind, that we are all collected. And when I tell people, I know this sounds very strange, people be like, so as you know, I believe that parts of me lives outside of me. and some of those parts of y'all, right? And vice versa. I truly feel that way for me, right? So for me, like, the only way that y'all are going to get this, or we are in the same mindset, is because we are all part of that same higher self, that same conglomerate of consciousness that we all tap into, that we're all a part of, that we're not separate from, you know? So that's why I preach this idea of no separation. And we're all unique, you know. We all have these different gifts, but all of those gifts come from that one bundle of consciousness, right? So even though it comes off as if I am so unique, all these people are beneath me, or I am so weak because most of these persons are much more stronger than me, that is not the case.
No.
We all come from the same conglomerate of consciousness. It's just that we all allowed each other to some degree, when you use the word allowed, for each one of us to be individual and different so that we can all experience source and be in the experience of source. So that's why, you know, I get a little bit of, I should say, passionate when I see the idea of, oh, I'm better than this person. Oh, he's better than me. I mean, and to some degree, they may be skilled in an area, but that does not make them more inferior than yourself. It doesn't make you more superior than them. As a matter of fact, you should thank them, because they could have taken that same amount of consciousness that had your speciality and used that, and you could have been left without it. So you thank them for their skills. You thank them and say, you know what, I want to thank you for just being so humble, for choosing this very, very modest life. And I want to take you on this journey with me, because without you, I wouldn't be me. The me that shines will not be me without you. So I want to thank you. And in that gratitude comes even more abundance. Well, why do you think all of y'all on this live with me now? Why do you think I'm connected to so many people? It's because of that gratitude for every single person. Every human being that comes into my life, I'm like, damn, I'm so appreciative of that person. And gratitude creates even more so. You know. Anyway, y'all got any more questions? Come on, man. Y'all asking these real live questions that are very much people need answers to. And you're doing very well with it. I would say. And for those who are in the tribe, if you haven't signed on, like I said, if you haven't watched this part, go into my YouTube community channel page. And if you're an Astro Soul or Cosmic Soul, go ahead, click the link and join us in this live. You see? All right. There you go, Miss Combs.
So my question is more of an astrological question.
Okay.
On one of the lives, you had pointed out someone's fertility or lack of fertility in the chart. And I was just wondering, where in the chart do you see that? Is it in certain asteroids, or, I mean, you know, certain asteroids within the houses, or how are you seeing that?
That's a good one. I like that you asked that question. All right. So as a student of mine in astrology, what house rules children?
There's several houses.
The fifth house rules children as a whole, right? Whatever sign you have on that fifth house tells you about the quality of the children that you're gonna have as a whole. You see? Sweet cream. Sweet cream. Thanks. So let's just say, on what planet rules, limitations, and restrictions?
Saturn.
Saturn. Now, you realize that Saturn isn't just the only one up. What about karma? Saturn rules karma, and so does Pluto, correct?
Correct.
So aspects to your fifth house ruler, you know, if Saturn is an aspect, I would say squared, conjunct, opposition, in conjunction to Saturn, there can be a restriction on having children. Fertility, however, is a different topic. Fertility is connected to
Jupiter.
2 planets, actually. Well, 1 asteroid, 1 planet. One being the moon, and the other being Ceres. Ceres, Ceres, however you want to pronounce it. It is responsible for fertility. When you have, if you have Saturn sitting in your 5th house, that's a restriction of having children, or feeling as if you have karma with children. So there may be some karmic ties connected to that. If the ruler of your 5th house, whatever planet that may be, is an aspect, a hard aspect to Saturn or Pluto, or even to some degree Uranus, there could be some infertility to that in that area. There's also the moon. If the moon is in a sign that is not comfortable in a house is not comfortable in, and in aspects to planets that are malefic in nature, there can be infertility issues. Okay, especially also when it comes to Ceres or Ceres, whatever you want to pronounce it. Those aspects a sign is not comfortable in, the house it's in, all these things are. And Ceres operates just like the moon. So it's comfortable in Cancer, it's excellent in Taurus, it's in detriment in Capricorn, and it's in fall in Scorpio. And these placements, the detriments, the falls, the hard aspects, can create infertility in a chart. Okay? Now, Saturn itself does not make infertility. Saturn in the 5th house does not create infertility. It creates a delay of having children until an old age. All right? I like this astrological question. Y'all know this is my area of expertise. I like that too. All right, you go ahead, Jerry.
So I was researching because you tell us this a whole bazillion, you didn't say bazillion, but you said a lot of asteroids. And you can't go through all of these asteroids. So I wanted to know about certain dark asteroids last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning. And so I found Karma. I found Degenerate, which deals with victimhood or victimization. I found Achilles. I found, it was another one that I ain't asking about this one because this one is the end. It's a fated event or something like that. But at any rate, I found Karma sextile. It was in the same. I'm going in and out.
Yeah, just now. Wait, what'd you say?
I said Karma in my 10th house. No, in my 9th house where my MC is, but it wasn't conjunct because Karma was 27 degrees and my MC was 1 degree. But I was like, okay, so how are these asteroids going to really impact? One, I found my own answer to.
Mm-hmm.
But some I didn't, because I'm like, okay, it's conjunct Pluto, what that mean, and all of that. So these asteroids that are called dark asteroids, how can they, what could they do to, I don't want to say it like that, but how can we work to reduce the implications that may be challenging? I'll say it like that.
Okay. Now, what I've learned in astrology is every asteroid has a higher and lower octave.
Okay.
As beneficial as Jupiter is, the dark side of Jupiter is excess, overuse, imbalance, and there are other words that are associated with the very, very lucky planet of Jupiter. It is the same way with these dark asteroids. They're not completely dark. Remember now, even when I did on Facebook the other day about the planet of, Bacchus, the asteroid Bacchus of addictions.
Yes, sir.
We talked about those other asteroids that deal with enemies, nemesis, and these other asteroids that people would consider dark.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lighter side to those asteroids. You find the keywords that are connected to that, and then you operate from those keywords. Remember now, the dark side will be considered fear, and or the lower octave is fear, and the higher octave is love. Now you're either observing that planet experience, either love or fear. You're either operating from one of those. All right.
Yes, sir.
You made me feel like I really in school when you be like, yes, sir.
It's a habit from the South. That's what we say to show respect.
So really and truly, there isn't any bad planet. Even Saturn.
I love Saturn.
Saturn is the teacher. It teaches you that what you are. It's like a satellite. It's your karmic planet, right? It's karmic planet. You chose to experience the opposite end of an emotion that was imbalanced. That's some growth. You got some balls to choose to face the shit that you've done to people.
It is.
So I'm saying, so I see bravery in that. Every planet and every asteroid has a higher and lower octave.
Would you ever like the difference? You mentioned Vedic astrology. What's the real difference? Can you compare and contrast? Would it be tropical, what we do, and not Vedic? What's the difference between the two, other than how the natal charts look?
Right. So Vedic astrology or Vedic astrology operates from a fatalistic point of view. Right? And Western astrology comes at it from a psychological, psychoanalytical point of view. When Vedic astrology is more vested on fate, Western astrology is vested on free will. Okay?
Okay.
So now you go into the argument of free will and fate again, which is real. Yeah, come on. So Vedic astrology, some of the Vegas would say, and back in the day, they still have these interpretations, you know. Venus, Mars aspecting Saturn, second house. This man will be favored by kings, will have 20 calves, will marry and be happy for eternity. That's how fated that shit just be. You hear me? Like, they got interpretations now. If you read some of the interpretations, they still say the same shit. All right.
So they haven't changed and grown.
Some astrologers have done their best to add, you know, on the Vedic, but it's not so much so as the tropical astrology or Western astrology. All right. So
thank you.
Which asteroids you guys feel drawn towards the most? Like, when you look at asteroids that I've either taught you or you've done your own research on yourself, you know, what asteroids you feel is much strong inside you, or you feel leaning towards the most? Y'all can't think in your head?
I'm thinking.
Well, I know that when you were talking about the Amor placement and explaining it, it was I was like, oh, wow.
A light bulb went off?
It was, I was like, well, it starts to make more sense as to why certain things are that way, even though you're a certain whatever sign somewhere else in your chart.
Right.
So.
All right. Right. It makes sense. Like, because all of the asteroids are you know. It's really rough. What we gonna do, I'm gonna share my software, so y'all can be able to see what I'm looking at in real time. Okay. You know, like next, I think it's 2 weeks, a week and a half from now, I'm gonna be doing a series of predicting predictions of celebrities. All right, we're gonna be predicting on what's gonna be happening to them, and you know, we're gonna take a look at their progress chart, their solar return, stuff like that. You know, because I want to bring into this community a lot more of the predictive methods. I've really been focused on the psychological, psychoanalytical aspect of astrology so that people could understand themselves. Now, we're going to go into the predictive method of astrology, right? Which is very scary for a lot of people, because the first thing people think about is he going to predict my death? Or it's be like, will you predict when I go find my husband? Or when I'm going to have a baby? And all that other stuff. You know, people are really, really, I've had some of the most strangest questions, y'all have no idea. Okay, I'd be sitting inside these sessions, I'd be like, why you want to know that? You know, but I don't say that because I'm like, listen, you done paid your money. You want answers to your specific questions. Okay, I got you. So yeah, that's so asteroids are very important, y'all. Rulers of houses are very important. Okay, rulers of the house is very important. Very important. And it affects you more than you know. I want to use one of y'all. Let me use one of y'all. Who can I use?
Use me.
Who's that first?
Jerry.
Yeah, well, Keisha hand was up real quick. And then followed followed very, very closely by 0.5 seconds was Shannon. All right, Keisha, let me see if I can find your chart first, and then we're gonna put it up. Okay, well, that's real noble of you to use your, what? Keisha is really and truly breaking out of her shell to die. All right. Can y'all see this chart? All right.
Yes.
This is Keisha's chart, right? So, y'all, let me put on my asteroids. If y'all don't know this, I got this right here. This is some asteroids that I'm focusing on for this week. It's Proserpina and Persephone, okay? And these asteroids deal with abandonment, issues around abandonment, issues around asteroids leaving, being taken or sent away from home, family conditions, memories of what separated you from mother, family, even emotionally, how you handle transitions and the rites of passage in your life, going to school, the adolescent crisis, separation from marriage or career, midlife, etc., how you operate with that. This one tells you about separation anxiety, leaving, going away, what you believe will happen if mother's not there to take care of you, the conditions you attract as you approach a transition of separation. So that's one of the asteroids I was focused on. We don't get to that. That's the reason why it's showing him. As you can see, Keisha has Persephone widely conjunct her sun, which means that Keisha's a runner. Keisha's a runner.
Track star.
If things is, I'm taking me and my son, and we is going that way. This means that a part of her, our core, which is the sun, also embodies that, which is leaving, being taken or sent away from home, family of familiar conditions, memories of separating you from motherhood, so and so. And as you can see, it's sitting right here in the 9th house of philosophy, spirituality, religion, and those things. Right? So for her, that's a serious thing, especially when it comes to family. So if her family is not in the area or field of spirituality, and because Saturn is conjunct the sun, if they're not serious and responsible with their spiritual decisions, one of the core things that Keisha would say is, okay, I'm gone, because y'all ain't taking this serious.
That is true. That is so true. That is true. My own kids, I would do that.
I know. Your chart literally shows it. You understand? So like I said, and once you break these things down, these asteroids, and you see the connection of the aspects and what have you, that's how it goes. And when you look at it, because of this placement, you look at it and you say, wow, that's why Keisha operates like that. That makes a whole lot of sense. It is making sense. Even with the other planets, let's just say Sun, our Sun is in 16 degrees and it's in Cancer. Now, 120 degrees put that in either, would put it in either Scorpio or Pisces. So her sun is trine her ascendant, and her sun is trine Jupiter. And Jupiter is trine the ascendant. So y'all ain't gonna never see Keisha without a smile. If you see it, that's very rare. There's an optimism about her. There's a moment of teaching almost all the time for her. And there's a moment of, getting visions of the future, because that's what Jupiter does. That's what Pisces does. And the sun is in the 9th house. So when I first look at Keisha's chart, I said, this is a prophet. This woman could see into the future. Her physical avatar through dreams and visions, a sense of knowingness, provides this information. So like I said, and I had a conversation with somebody today about understanding people's chart and accepting them for who they are. And so I'd be accepting Keisha's information. I'd be like, oh, she'd be like, you know what? I had a dream, Astro, this way. And let me tell you what this means. I'm like, really, that makes sense. I get it. And I take that. And that's because of these placements. But I want to get into this whole thing about rulers of the house. Okay. Now, if Scorpio is on an ascendant, what planet rules Scorpio? Pluto. This right here is Pluto. Now, our Pluto is in what house?
12.
The 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of what exactly, for my students who are watching and who are here?
Pisces.
Lives.
Spirituality.
Spirituality.
The subconscious.
Subconscious, right? Spirituality. There's also prisms of silence, hospitals. Right. These things are connected to 12th house, self-undoing, these sort of things. So I would know within my heart that this person right here, Keisha, what I know, will be considered to me a guardian angel. Okay. That's how I came to that decision. How I came to that decision is because Pluto represents the collective consciousness. It represents the whole, the mass. And in the 12th house, representing the super consciousness, this person has a feeling of being connected to the all. All right, so this person makes this person super psychic, super empathetic, super, because wherever Pluto is where your power is or your undoing. So this is why I know that Keisha's super psychic. I'm like, she's psychic. She's a medium. She's so-and-so. And because of that placement, it shows me that, right? Now, that's just the rule of the first house, right? Then you take a look at the aspects, these little lines here, at what goes on. I'm going to break this down so you can learn this out. So you got Pluto square Mercury, Pluto square Saturn, Pluto sextile Neptune, and that's midpoint. The sudden and compulsive attraction, love at first sight, obsessed about someone or something, intense feeling, or what have you. That's what we call a midpoint. Now, these right here tells me a lot more than anything. So let me show you what that means. The first house is the house of the physical body. And if your ruler of your first house is sitting in the 12th house, that means that you are very empathetic, psychic, intuitive. All right. With the aspects, it breaks it down even more. So she has Pluto square Mercury. This could mean that she's very prophetic, but only when it comes to something that's going to happen in a negative way. Does it make sense what I'm saying to y'all?
It does.
Because Mercury squaring is a hard aspect and not a soft one. So as if she gets insight into things that can happen. This could also, because Mercury rules communication, and that could also mean miscommunication. That could mean cars or traveling. That could mean accidents. That could mean any form of that nature. It could mean a dream about our siblings, even aunts or uncles or cousins. But all these are connected to Mercury. So that means that her physical avatar is sensitive to things that are going to happen. Information is going to be spread. Information is going to happen. So she's psychic in that ability. You get where I'm coming from? So you use the ruler of the house to distinguish certain things when you look at the aspects of it. Let me give you another example, which is much more simpler. Is this right here. The sign Leo is on the 10th house. Leo is ruled by what planet?
Sun.
That's right. That's why Leos like to be the center of attention. The energy of Leo is like, hey, I'm here right now. This is me. Hello, hi. That's because the sun is the center of our universe. It sheds light. It brings life. This is why Leos like to be the life of the party. The energy of Leo is of that nature. Now, Leo is ruled by the sun. Her sun is in Cancer in the 9th house of philosophy, spirituality, religion. The 10th house rules your integrity. It rules how you're going to be known in this world. It rules your career, the overall career. And when you look at this in the 9th house, the 9th house also rules dreams and visions, spirituality, law. It rules foreign places, foreign cultures. It rules also in imports and exports and publishing. When you look at this, you say, well, the 10th house, if her 10th house ruler is in the 9th house, whatever's in the 9th house, she brings into the 10th house. Okay? So whatever house, whatever sign the ruler is sitting on, whatever house that sign, that planet is sitting in, it brings it into the house. So Keisha brings into her career a sense of nurturing, mothering, being the person that looks out for everybody. In the 9th house, it brings philosophy, spirituality, dreams, visions, okay, writings, publishings. All these things she brings into her career. And that's why rulers of the houses are important. You have to know what planet rules what sign and what house that ruler is sitting in. So she brings all this stuff into it. And as you can see, her sun is conjunct Saturn, which brings seriousness, responsibility, right? That means that she takes her work very seriously, her career very seriously. She's responsible in that area. And that's because of the ruler of the 10th house being in conjunction to that. This also is for work. As you see, Presperone is conjunct her sun, which means that if that job isn't making any sense, the first thing Keisha gonna say is, to hell with that shit. Deuces. All right? You over there giggling?
Yes, because you're right.
Yeah. That's how it goes. That's how it works. Right? So that's how that, oh, we got people waiting to be in. Hold up. Oh, never mind. So y'all see how the ruler of the house is important? Astrology is a very detail-oriented thing. Oh, I did a wrong thing, y'all. I ain't going to check up on my people them in the YouTube channel. Hey, y'all, everybody. Let me say a shout out to who all's here. I see the Curvy CEO, Marilyn. Hey, Zena. We got Monica Bell, Bridget Birdow, Donnie Bell, Lashima, Minoy Smith, Dennett. We got, who else? Honey Loves, Consciousness Connect, Samaya, I Am Chan Lee. Wow, hey Chan Lee. Bridget Birdow. We got, who else is on here? Okay, hey, Katrina. And Yeah, quite a few. This is a long list. Ghostface. Gosh. Yeah, the truth is truth. A Pope. Kimson Sound Therapy. Just want to say a shout out to y'all for y'all being here. Era HD. Rachel Rod. Reiki Spot. Torianne Wilkin. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. For those, just Ebony. For those who I missed out, just know that there's a lot of names. So yeah. All right. Oh, Marina, Stephanie. All right. There you go. So thank y'all for popping in with us. All right. So that was, so do you have any specific questions about your chart, Keisha?
No, I'm always here. You know that. So I'll get more questions in later. You can move on to somebody else. You know how I am.
All right.
Thank you, though.
All right. Because you're welcome. Because Shannon was a very, very close in that speed race where y'all put the hands up and she was like, Shannon, we're going to take a look at your chart.
Okay.
Now, what question you got pertaining to your chart? You have to have a question, I'm sure.
Okay, I guess my question is about, well, actually, it's not specifically my chart, but in reading charts, in my chart, I have a lot of retrogrades. So I guess when interpreting someone's charts, do you bring that portion of it into it, or?
Good. I'm gonna bring this laptop a little closer because I got to sit back for this one. Retrograde is a very, interesting subject for some people because people only think that Mercury going retrograde.
Right. And I have like 5.
And they just blame Mercury. They blame Mercury retrograde for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yo, your dog just shitted on my lawn, man. Mercury must be in retrograde. Cause they ain't supposed to be doing that shit. Like, like they blame everything on Mercury retrograde. I'd be like, damn. Whew. I'd be scrolling. Y'all don't know. Could y'all imagine my timeline? And I'm just scrolling, people just talking spirituality and astrology. And I'm like, well, look at this sun sign astrologer. Anyway, y'all know how I feel about sun sign astrology. Don't get me wrong. I just feel as if it just limits astrology. But back to your question, Shannon. So your chart has a whole lot of retrogrades, you say?
Yes.
Let me take a look at this. Ms. Combs.
Yes.
What all kind of retrogrades you got?
Okay, let's see.
You got about 3.
Let's see, my Saturn is in retrograde. Chiron is in retrograde. Mercury is in retrograde. Let's see, I'm looking at my chart right now. My Nessus is in retrograde.
Don't look at Dark Moon Lilith and don't look at the other asteroids. You're gonna have, in every moment, in every chart, there's going to be asteroids that are in retrograde. Those
Okay.
are the main ones.
Okay, in that case, I do have.
Right, see? Let's focus on, those planets that in our. So your Saturn is in retrograde, your Mercury's in retrograde. I'm gonna speak in terms of past lives.
Okay.
Retrograde physically is now, there's no planet that goes backwards. There's none. I want you to understand this clearly. There is no planet that moves backwards. The only thing that causes it to look as if it's moving backwards is if there is a planet or other planets moving faster than it. Y'all ever been on the highway and you're driving and the car next to you look like it's going backwards because they're making 45 miles an hour and you're making 47 miles an hour? It's the same way with retrograde. However, retrogrades mean something in astrology. Going backwards, or the idea, the illusion of going backwards, means that this is something that you are repeating from a previous lifetime. All right? Most definitely, if your Saturn is in retrograde, your father was your father from a previous lifetime, most recent previous lifetime.
Yeah.
If your Mercury is retrograde, that means that your siblings were your siblings in a most recent lifetime. As you can see, it's very hard to figure out if your mom was your mom or your dad, because if you're looking at the moon does not go reverse.
Mhm.
But Ceres, or Ceres, which is also an indication of the mother. If that is in retrograde, there's a strong possibility that your mom was your previous mom in a previous lifetime, which means that you are redoing and you have an opportunity to release certain emotions that were accumulated from that lifetime. There's an imbalance in that connection that needs to be shifted. So check this out. The only planet I really have in retrograde is one planet, and it's conjunct my sun exactly, and that is Mercury. My Mercury is in retrograde, y'all. That's why if y'all messaging me and I skip over text, it's because my Mercury's in retrograde, y'all. I ain't see shit.
Listen. Never mind.
All right. Like I say, if you knew better, you do better.
Now, what about type?
That's mutual. No.
So your Mercury, your Mercury is retrograde, Shannon, in Libra, correct?
Yes.
Which means that, there is a replay of either the sibling or the communication you had with your siblings, or the communication you had with a marriage partner or relationship partner that needs to be worked out. It could be a combination of both. Higher self is so smart that it can choose an astrological placement that take care of both of them at the same time.
Okay.
So you chose these people who have a lot of retrogrades have chosen to relive another experience. Before we get into it, Courtney asked a question. Can somebody read Courtney's question? I can't get into. Let me see. Hold on. Can you find the retrograde on a synastry too? Okay, so there are different kinds of synastries. There's a chart called the Composite chart, which is a combination of your chart and the other person's chart to form one chart. It's called a midpoint method. So they find the planet, let's just say your moon is in Libra, that person's moon is in Aquarius. Your composite chart will have your moon as a collective, as a relationship, in the sign that's in between both signs. And if you have planets in retrograde in a composite chart, this is an area of your relationship that you are reliving and experiencing so you can release certain things from a past life. Okay? All right. Hey, Jerry, I see your hands up.
Okay. So I looked at my Ceres and I was wrong. I was thinking of the IC. But my Ceres is conjunct Pluto in the 6th house.
How you feel about that?
I'm observing it with love. But I don't know what it means.
All right. If Let me take a look so I can take a look at your chart so we can talk about that. All right. Cherry. Lord have mercy. Do y'all know how much jasmines I got on my how much Jessica's I got, y'all. I did too much damn charts. Yeah. Oh,
What's been your
God.
favorite time while you looking that chart up? What has been one of your most favorite highlights from a natal chart reading or any reading that you've done? Not past life regression, but natal chart or draconic or solar return or synastry. If this boy tell me I'm all one more time, I'm gonna fight him.
I'm trying to understand the question.
Like, what would be your most memorable? That's the word I'm looking for. And it may be a whole lot of memorable accounts because you've done a gazillion charts. You've done so many. Yeah. But was it ever just one thing where it gave hope, or a person had that aha moment that they escaped victimization and they actually felt empowered?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I feel as if most of the times that I do a natal chart reading, most of the times they get an aha moment. Right? Now, that hour is me going over a certain amount of asteroids, planets, positions. But I can't really specifically say one person or one moment. Because I remember, if I'm remembering clearly, almost all of your charts I've actually looked at and read. And every moment I look at it, I was like, oh, wow, this person is so beautiful. Like, they are so unique. They got this one particular thing that I did not see in another person's chart. And the beauty in it is how unique this individual has chosen to be at this point in time. Not to say to be of a sense of separate, but the idea of understanding the character they chose in this lifetime. It's always, to me, so beautiful. So I'd be like, damn, it's so beautiful. They're beautiful. So I don't know if I could just put one instance about somebody's chart for sure. I don't know if I could. I don't know how to do that. Okay. Now, I'm gonna get to your chart though.
Okay.
We're gonna get to this. Jerry, is your mom alive? If you don't mind me asking.
No, my mother died. It'll be 10 years in June.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what did she die? How did she die?
Well, my mama lied. I'm open book. My mama said that she had asthma. So what took my mom? What happened? She had COPD. She had a pulmonary disorder. So she had emphysema, which then turned into tuberculosis, and that's how she died.
All right. So she faked.
She faked a lot.
She didn't want you to worry, correct?
She didn't want me to worry. She had emphysema for 9 years and didn't tell nobody. In fact, a week before she died, she shut her phone off and was like, I ain't talking to nobody. I'm gonna die on my own.
So let's take a look at your chart, all right?
Okay.
Take a look at your chart. Now you have your moon in Pisces in the 11th house.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your Ceres in the 6th house of health. Now, the sign of Libra represents balance. It represents, balance, beauty, or the aesthetic of things. Okay. Now, your Ceres, the 6th house rules what? What is the 6th house rule?
Health.
Health. service, and work. Health, service, work. And if your series just represents the mom, is in the 6th house and it's conjunct Pluto, and Pluto rules what does Pluto rules in astrology?
The transformation.
That's right. When you look at this area, you have your Pluto conjunct Ceres. Now, I said a few days ago about in my class that the sign Libra rules creating balance, understanding both sides. To some people, it may come off as being fake or lying. This is why the Libras get the bad rep, or Libra energy get the bad rep of being a liar, or being somebody who's faking, or being superficial on the surface. And that's because they just want to create balance. They want to understand this, understand that. So your mom, which is represented also by Ceres and your moon, is conjunct the planet of death in the sign that rules balance, but also it rules to some degree the lower octave of putting on a face, being of a show. Yep. So your mom, you chose that before you came here. That at some degree your mom was going to try to make you feel at ease about her health issues. And this is because y'all have done that before. How do I know? Because your Ceres is in what?
Retrograde.
And your Pluto is in what?
Retrograde.
Which means that this is not the first time around. In previous lifetimes, you felt emotional about your mom leaving. And you probably did the same thing in this lifetime as well. Is this correct?
It is.
So releasing those emotions, releasing those feelings of being lied to or faked upon about her health issues that brought her to her death, would literally release you from this retrograde experience. Everybody can be released from their retrograde experience, but it has to be done consciously by observing your emotions at the time. All right, that's
a lot of retrograde.
So what?
I got a lot of retrograde.
Okay.
How do they? I see the north and the south nodes are in retrograde. How is that determined?
It's always in retrograde, sugar. Just very rare is it in direct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Because the reason why they're in retrograde is because the south node is what you've been in the past.
Past life.
And the north node is where you're going based upon what you've done in the past.
Right. Yes, you told me that was my life purpose. That's what I came in this life to work out and deal with.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Anyone? Hey, Trust, I see you on. What's going on? Anybody else got any questions about their chart or anything of that nature? This is your time now. This is your time to shine. Cosmic.
I do.
All right, Miss Rakima, your hand was up first. You beat Courtney in that 50-yard dash. Go ahead, Rakima. Ms. Worley.
My question is that I know that in 2023, this is my year of growth. In my chart that I'm concerned with, and I know that I'm battling with my feminine and my masculine energy. And I've been told to work more on my feminine because I automatically want to be in my masculine. My question is, how can I help myself progress just by looking at my chart and what areas I need to focus on?
All right, Ms. Roy, do I have your chart?
Of course you do. Stop it.
All right, let's take a look at your chart. Okay. So you want to take a look at your progressed chart, you said?
As in, okay, so I'm working on me being more feminine. Does that make sense?
Oh, based upon your chart is making a whole lot of sense. All right. So what about this this feminine, masculine particular part? When you say what do you mean by that? Give me understanding of why you said that. Like,
I feel like I want to fix everything. Do you know what I'm saying? And like allowing the universe, allowing God to have its way. Because since I've been in a lot of strife in my life, it's like I don't know how to stay still and allow it to just basically take its course, if it makes sense.
that's deep. Let's take a look at why you feel all right. I'm gonna take a look at your chart. We're gonna share the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. All right, there you go. All right, so this is your chart, right? And your rising sign, ascendant is Taurus. And the aspects that represent like the feminine nature are things like your moon, your Venus, your Ceres, your Vesta, and your Juno. All of these goddess asteroids. Also, even to some degree, your Pallas Athena. I don't think I put that inside there. Take a look. And look at Pallas. All right. And your Pallas Athena. So all of them are in masculine signs. Except for, so you don't see your Ceres, which is in Capricorn, but it's in a masculine house. Your Juno and your moon is in Aquarius, in a masculine sign. Your Venus is in a masculine house, any feminine sign, so on and so forth. Most of your asteroids, the goddess, are in, masculine signs. Now, the reason why you feel like fixing everything is because of this placement here. Right here. Now, if you take a look at this, which is Savo, you don't just like to fix everything. You like to fix your friendships, interests. So it assumes another important on medical astrology is talking about your chart. Now, your Mars, which is in Virgo, shows that every action you make is about healing or helping. You like to use the word fix, but really what you really want to say is heal. Now, the reason why you are doing that is because you are destined, because of North Node being Savo and your Mars, you are destined. Is when your purpose is to be a healer. The only thing is, you see this asteroid that we looked at the Keisha on, which is separation, anxiety, leaving, going away. Would you believe will happen if mothers are not there to take care of you? The conditions you attract as you approach transition of separating. Now, even though you desire on healing, you also desire to run away from that calling as well. Does it sound correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
you
think
have,
it's not necessarily running, but scared, not knowing how to.
it's separation anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you A, B, C, D, however you want to put it, tomatoes, tomatoes, potatoes, it's
Mm-hmm.
separation anxiety. Not
Mm-hmm.
knowing if you should stop doing it, or not feeling as if you stop doing it, that something may happen or something may not happen. It's a separation anxiety.
Or I may
Yeah.
not know what to do or how to do it right. Is that
Right.
perfectionism?
But that's a Virgo placement anyway. The
Mm-hmm.
perfectionism. But this right here tells about the anxiety that you get behind it. So this is the reason why you're talking about, or what you're talking about right here. Okay. That's the core of it, about needing to fix things or heal things. You are actually destined to be a healer. That is something that you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's a part of your fated, free will choice before you came here.
Well, healer in what aspect? Because there's so many things to heal.
Well, what do you do for a living now?
Well, it's multiple things. So in the process of retiring from the police department, and I am now looking to go into business.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's exactly going to tell you. That's going to help you.
No. That helps me a whole lot. Because if you take a look at your chart, if you look here, you have your MC is in Aquarius, which represents your career.
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And your MC is ruled, your Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And Uranus is sitting in the 7th house,
Mm-hmm.
in the sign of Scorpio, which means that, your career could be in detective work, hidden information, being a good detective. The thing is, your 6th house, which rules work, is in the sign of Libra, which rules law, which rules balance, beauty and fashion, partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And even in police work, you have a partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in this essence, you can't work without a partner. Even if you do, it mostly will be assigned to you to some degree, unless you're in the power. So even working with the police department or being retired, it basically shows you in the chart. Now, it also shows you a humanitarian,
Mm-hmm.
which means that you want to help people in bigger ways than anything. But what you can do, and what I see here based upon what needs to be done. Are you married, Miss Rakima?
No, that's a whole nother situation. It's hard to find that Mr. Right.
So what have I told you? That opening or connecting with a nonprofit organization, something that helps people, is going to bring about that partner for you. How does that sound? Especially with the area of like working or connecting to your career purpose. You may not have found it in your field of work. However, you will find it once you tap into what you came here to do, because of your integrity, what you came here to be seen and known as. That's what I see here, by the way.
Okay.
I know it's a lot to process, or a little bit,
But how do I balance it? Do you understand what I'm saying? As in to walk in, okay. one of my things is I like to help others, but I can't help others if I don't help myself. Right? And I think my balance is learning to nourish and love on me, my self-care. And I think that that's what God, universe wants me to work on, because a lot of my life I have poured into people and got rubbish at the end of it. And I think at this particular time, I am to love on me, learn how to love me. And the more that I love me, I can pour into others. Do you understand what I'm saying? So how do I do
Ms.
that?
Worley,
At this particular time?
I beg to differ that.
Okay.
Why I say that?
Why?
Let's just say that you don't have a car, but you have a home. And somebody you know needs help with being homeless, but has a car, brand new. The thing that you are lacking in, they provide. And the thing that they lack in, you provide.
Mm.
You don't have to be completely filled in that area to help anybody. So in your mind, you're like, I can't help nobody because I ain't got a car and I only got a house, I ain't got a car. So I can't really pour into you. I can't really bring you into my house because I don't have, I don't have a car to help you. You have your car, but I can't help you because you got the car. Like, do you see where I'm coming from with this?
No, I get it. I hear what you're saying.
Sometimes we feel as if we can't help anybody because we're not complete. But what if that person that you're helping helps to complete you? Helps, when I say help, I don't mean they complete you, but they help your journey a little bit more. So they're helping you while you're helping them. And sometimes that happens without you even knowing that they're helping you. So you shouldn't base your, I need to help myself before I help anybody. Because in helping them, you are helping yourself.
Okay.
All right. All right, who next? Miss Songbird. Go ahead. We got a few more minutes on. Courtney, you next after her, okay? I can't skip you. No more. I done did it on Facebook. You like it, man, better don't.
I'm backed out of here on accident. Okay, so can we look at my chart for singing and see what's there for it?
Okay. All right, let's take a look.
Ooh.
Let me see if I got this, because I be having your name and so many different names. Let me see if it's here.
I'm almost positive you have me on that computer under my government name.
You get it. You definitely sure about that, huh?
Government cheese. Yep.
We spell it DER.
IEKA.
Right. You're definitely right about that. We ain't gonna pronounce it all live. We ain't gonna do it. All right, let's take a look at your chart. We're gonna share your. All right, so you see this? You see your chart?
Yeah.
Now, there are a few areas that rule singing or performing. One of those houses.
The second house, right?
Is the fifth house rules performance, talents. The second house rules your throat. The third house rules your voice. You see how it works in the tandem? That's why not everybody can sing. It's because you have to have a very closely knitted relationship between the second house, the third house, and the fifth house. Now, looking at your chart, your Uranus is sitting in Sagittarius in the 12th house, which is about, the throat, where the voice comes from. And then you have your Mercury in Pisces.
Mercury in Pisces.
And it's conjunct widely with Eros. And also conjunct your Psyche. All right. Now, most people, because most people don't understand what this is. What I've learned from people who have Psyche in the 3rd house, it acts and operates like a Mercury in a Venus placement, which means that this normally produces beautiful voice. Not only that, when you look at it, you also have your 5th house of talents has Taurus there. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules the throat.
And the throat, right.
As it pertains to your gift in singing, let's take a look at the aspects to this, the ruler of this. So your Uranus, this is the ruler of your 2nd house, the throat, is square to Mercury, trine, you trine Venus, trine Mars. Now, we looking at your other stuff too, ain't that soon? Anyway, so the rule of your 2nd house, Uranus, is sextile to your midheaven, which means that to some degree, by looking at your chart, your throat or your voice, if you want to use that term, can be connected to you being seen and known. However, your Venus, which is also the ruler of that, let's take a look at what placements that got. It's trine Uranus, opposite your midheaven, and so is your Mars opposite your midheaven. So you're definitely, as you can see, appreciation of simple things, entertaining conversation with others, developing a mental rapport between partners, enjoying good company, active involvement in artistic and creative circles, circulating information about artistic or social events. This right here, that Venus right here, this midpoint always tells me about somebody who has a beautiful melodious voice. Now, your Mars, which is about aggression, conflict, is conjunct your Venus, which could mean, because it's right, and this may sound like, French that I'm speaking, your own actions can create a sort of a stoppage of you becoming, of using your voice to become powerful. Does it make sense, to you? Oh, I didn't hear you just now. What'd you say?
I didn't say nothing.
Like it's there. You have the potential, but it's your own aggression or action or whatever it may be, that you're impatient. Because Mars in Aries is impatient. Venus in Aries is impatient. Aries is an impatient sign, which means that your own impatience could be your own detriment. Okay. So continue just being patient with yourself and watch what happens.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Courtney.
Hey.
All right, what question you got for me?
Okay, so if my son is in the 2nd house and I'm a Virgo sun, I would look at Chiron.
as the ruler of your second house? Yes. Yes. That's exactly correct.
But that's in the 12th.
And it's in the 12th house.
Mm-hmm.
In the sign of Cancer, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you look at that your Chiron is the landlord of your sun. And your Chiron is in the sign of Cancer. In the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of hidden things. And even though you have a lot of Leo placements, which I can show you right now, even though you have a lot of Leo placements, when the landlord speaks, everything in the house follows. So under normal circumstance, according to this, you would be a very much somebody who would be bold and daring and, but because the landlord of this, which is, Virgo. So for those who are watching who knows astrology, I teach in my school that Chiron is the true ruler of Virgo and not Mercury. So your Chiron, which is here, is in the 12th house of hidden things. Really, when people have their sun and their moon sitting in the 12th house, these are persons who are literally shy. And who also can be, very psychic, very empathetic, because the 12th house rules the collective consciousness. This makes people like yourself super empathetic. Because of that 12th house landlord. But also, if you don't notice something as well, you also have this right here and this right here, conjunct your south node, conjunct your Venus, conjunct your Jupiter. Remember, this is the sign, applying the rules. Separation anxiety, leaving, going away, what you believe will happen if mother's not there to take care of you. And this means that you brought these traits, some traits of this from a previous lifetime. Like how you be like, I want to get outside, I gotta go, we go running, we go outside. That's a part of this whole thing right there. He's a running, he's a track star.
Okay.
But I hope I answered your question. All right. Lanika, then Sierra, then Miss Jarika Pert.
Okay, I have two questions now. One is really, really short. If you could just tell me where in my chart it shows me where I'm a runner, because I know that that's something that I have dealt with. And show me where in my chart it talks about, where it shows that I'm a runner, so that I can see what I need to do to overcome that.
All right.
Not Mario Brothers. Come on, man.
All right, my bad. All right. So what makes you feel as if you are a runner?
Because usually when things get a little intense, I kind of back up.
When things get intense, you back up?
Yeah. Like emotionally intense. I tend to want no parts. Or if sometimes when the heat gets turned up, I'm like, well, okay, this is not for me. Let me get on up out of here.
You mean with emotions?
Yes. Is that because of the moon in Capricorn?
Yeah. Also, only that, you have also a lot of midpoints to your moon.
And
All
what
right.
does that mean? Because I'm telling you, I'm clueless when it comes to those midpoints. I've looked at it a little bit, but I don't understand concept just yet. But you said there's a lot of midpoints to my moon.
So what makes you a runner to some degree? Oh, okay. So you can sing too.
Shh. Don't tell nobody.
She hides it too. Yes. Blaster. Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Keisha.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I can sing.
So what makes you that way is you have a midpoint. What I've noticed is between moon equals Mercury, Neptune. Mercury is the planet that rules, movement. Neptune rules disappearing. And, with your moon representing the emotions. Let me share the screen so you can take a look at what I'm looking at. Share the screen. All right. So on the surface, your chart does not show the intensity of dealing or needing to run.
Okay.
But you already know that your moon in Capricorn is not really the strongest, most placement dealing with emotions.
Right. It's in detriment.
It's in detriment. Now, your moon has a midpoint of Mercury and Neptune. Fertile imagination, creative and inspired thinking, receptive to the visual arts, fiction, writing, music, acting, sensitive to the opinions and moods of others, gullibility and naivety, emotional and mental confusion, a tendency to lose focus or stray off a point, dependencies, addictive tendencies, misunderstandings or dishonesties within the family and with
women. Listen, because I'm telling you, I love my sisters, but when they get started with that shit, I don't want no parts.
Right. So when you look at the Mercury Neptune placement, that midpoint, even if you lose the keywords of those from the lower perspective, Neptune is about, the 12th house is about hidden things, hiding stuff or losing things. 12th house is where you lose stuff. It's where you want to just move, run. Not only that, when you think about it, your moon, which is the ruler of your 12th house, has Persephone inside there.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question. Where she is, where is she that makes me, because it's not on my chart that you gave me, this particular asteroid.
It's actually opposite your moon. Think about it. 20 degrees in Cancer is opposite to 23 degrees in the moon. Which means that needing to separation anxiety, leaving, going away, what you believe will happen if mother's not there to take care of the conditions you attract as you approach the transition or separation. With this being opposite way, because remember now, Saturn, moon in Capricorn is that sign that says, oh, okay, I'm responsible towards the family.
Right.
But being opposite to this shows that, that's enough of that shit. I gotta go.
Ooh. So that's why I got mommy burnout, huh?
Huh?
I said, that's why I got mommy burnout right now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that happens with that placement.
Yeah, I'm tired.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah. Thank God they almost grown.
All right. Sierra?
Okay. It don't stop there, Lanika.
Well, they're going to have to catch me.
Tarika? You got a question? And then trust. So Sierra, you have a question?
Yeah, so I know you were saying something about true node being direct. I wanted to look at that because I see mine is direct. So I wanted to know what that meant. And I wanted to see if you could look at my progress chart.
All right, so that's 2 questions. So the question about, let me see if what's your last name again, Sierra?
Thompson.
All right. So check this out. Whenever I've noticed, and I tell you it's very rare that people's north node and south node are not in retrograde. It's very rare. What I've learned from my experience of doing past life regressions and connecting them to astrology is that people who have south node and north node, not retrograde, have free will to some degree in the direction that they're here to do. It is not influenced by anything that you've done in the past. Okay?
Okay.
And what question you have about your progress chart that you want to know about? Let's take a look at how it's progressed in the first place. Hold on. Yeah, so what you need to know? Tell me what you want to know.
I just want to know, like, what I progressed into, I guess.
All right, let me share that with you so you can be able to see that. Screen, there you go. All right, so you progress into being right now at this point in time a Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius rising is right there, widely conjunct your Nessus. Your sun has progressed into Taurus, and your moon has progressed now into Pisces. As a Sagittarius rising, this would be, the moment of where people would see you as being optimistic, philosophical, expansion and growth. But your Pluto is in your first house, as you can see right here, which means that, people either love you or hate you. There's also a all or nothing experience of that. Also, sexual energy of that nature is also connected to that. Okay. You also have your moon in Pisces, and also your Ceres conjunct your moon in Pisces.
I think that's how it is on my normal chart too, though. On my natal chart.
It's not definitely not in the 4th house though.
No, in the 5th house.
It's in the 5th house. So the house change. You get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Now your Saturn is in the 5th house now. And you got no kids, right?
No.
Yeah, that's because Saturn is in your 5th house now. There's a sort of a limitation towards the experience of being a mom at this very point in time. And you have to take a look at why. When you look at why, you take a look at the planet. It's sitting in the sign it's sitting in. Your Saturn is in Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars. Your Mars is in the 10th house of Virgo, with health and service and work. For some degree, even there's going to be a limitation of having children based upon the direction of your career and also you taking care of your health completely. there is situations about your health circumstances that needs to be addressed based upon this chart I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's limiting this area of not having a child. So you can make a decision based upon the fact that you want to continue your career and you want to, you want your physical body to be perfect the way you want it. And all these things are connected to that. So that's what I see based upon that. There's other stuff that's here. MC and Libra, you should get into either in the 12th and 11th house. Internet modeling, using your sense of fashion and beauty on social media or the internet, television, whatever it may be. There may be a niche for your look, putting yourself into, a movie or movies or acting or of that nature at this point in time. You should audition. There's going to be somebody who actually likes how you look and want your particular look for this particular role. Who knows? But either which way, it's showing that, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Ms. Pert, and then trust, and that's it for now. Hey, Tarika.
Hey, so I just have a question regarding my birthday. It passed like December 29th. So for this year, 2023, I'm gonna be turning 30. So I'm just curious to know what my chart says for that time, if that's possible.
What you talking about, your birthday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those charts are called solar return charts. All right, in a solar return chart, you're able to tell exactly how the year is going to be like.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at your return chart, they call it. All right, we're gonna do it for the dates. That's for this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Until December 2023. There you go. All right. Okay. So let me show you how this looks. What's your rising sign again?
Gemini.
Let me share this with you so you can see what I'm looking at. All right, so your rising sign is Gemini. Your solar return, you'd be in 27 degrees. What's your sun sign?
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And your moon sign is what?
Cancer.
Right. But what have changed is, if we can take a look, your ascendant in your natal chart is at 8 degrees. Your solar return chart, 27 degrees. The moon is in Aries. Your sun is still in Capricorn, but it's the other planets have changed a lot. But this year, your birthday coming along, let me say that's December 29th. Let's move it December 23rd. Sorry, let me go to December 23rd. 29th, 2023. Predictive method, return chart. Let's look at the conjunctions. Let's look at it from here. Yeah, that is what I. So your son would be in the 5th house, and ascending in Virgo. So your year will look like this. It would look as if you're focused more on work, on being more focused on your skills and talents. What I also see all of the things that you've learned during working, for the government or whatever you want to call it, you are actually, some of the things you are going to orchestrate into your life as it pertains to your family and associates. Your moon would have been in the 12th house. There's a direct connection to you, your family, and also some spiritual gifts. As a matter of fact, you're going to be more focused on that because your sun in the 5th house of Capricorn, you're going to take your spirituality a lot more seriously. I also see, based upon this chart, Saturn in the 7th house shows that there's going to be sort of especially in the Pisces, a feeling that you and your partner is going to grow even more stronger. Actually, it's going to be also some travel this year that's coming along. I see that Venus in Sagittarius, Mercury in Sagittarius, 4th, Mars in Sagittarius, and the rest there is some well-needed travel to a different country that's connected to your roots, connected to your family lineage. I don't know what that is for you, but I see that here. I also see delving deeper into deep mystical things, not really wanting to focus on anything that's superficial. An action presented. The reason why I say even more people isn't us. That you're going to be traveling is because Jupiter is in the 9th house. It could be a connection of learning something or connecting from someplace from a different country. So traveling or using your free will to travel is actually going to create a sort of expansive experience for you that is going to stick with you and create a sense of wealth. You're going to create a sense of knowledge that you're going to put into a niche and create an abundance for yourself for some apparent reason. There also is going to be a little bit of a shakeup health-wise. Aquarius is sitting on your 6th house, and your Uranus is in Taurus. There can be a sort of an overindulgence that can create this sort of shifting in the health situation. And that could be connected to something that you're probably addicted to or over excess, as you can see. All right. Yeah. That's what I see there. That's a whole reading. I just want to give you information, general information, because that's a lot to go over. All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Hey, Trust.
Hey, what's up? Okay,
hey.
So I just wanted to know if there's anything that you can give me.
If there's
like
any what?
Overview. Like an overview. Sorry if I'm going in and out traveling. But because I really don't know much about the charts and astrology and things, honestly, trying to learn more. So if there's something that really shines or comes through that's pretty prominent, if you can let me know what that may be.
Trust, what's your government name again?
Angela, A-N-G-E-L-A, Ingram, I-N-G-R-A-M.
I got you.
You got me, okay.
All right, so what is the question again you asked?
If you see something, I guess, prominent, something that comes through pretty strong, because I really much, and I'm trying to learn more, get more into it. I guess like a highlight.
All right, most people don't really take astrology very seriously because they feel as if it's a complex subject and it's just too much and they feel as if their life is so filled with things that they're not able to do that. So many talents that you may have, and you have a lot of talents. So you may be like, you know what, astrology is on the back burner because you got a lot of things accomplished more than just astrology. And that's, that's definitely understood. Progress chart. Let's take a look at your progress chart. All right, Sun in the 1st house in the sign of Gemini. You have a conjunct Chiron. So where's your Chiron? All right, Chiron is the ruler of your 4th house. So check this out. You've now progressed into becoming a healer through words, information. You're a direct healer. As a matter of fact, if you're doing that, you're in your purpose. Your North Node is conjunct your Sun and conjunct your Chiron. All right, that's normally an indication that you're in the field of healing people through information. You are a giver of knowledge at this point in time. Your Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini, is in the 12th house in Taurus. Okay. And it's in the 9th degree. All right. Which means that you normally would get information from sources beyond the conscious mind. All right. So you basically are, I'm seeing that you're fulfilling your purpose in this lifetime. You're actually on the pathway of what you're supposed to do. I also see that there, health-wise, there could be a connection between, you have children, right?
Yep.
All right. I see that there should be, and I'll tell you this, when it comes to either one of your child or one of your children, there is some imbalance that needs to be taken care of. It's going to definitely affect your child. I don't know what child it is or what they're doing or what it is, but I see that there's some things that are deep-rooted in one of your children. How I know that is because your 6th house ruler is sitting in your 5th house of children, and it's sitting in the sign of Libra. All right. And whatever's on your 6th house is about the dealing with health. I see Mars there. I see a Saturn there. This could be somebody who's, or you could be dealing with a child with skin issues or allergies of that nature based upon the Mars being there. I mean, the Saturn being there. And the Mars, dealing with either shortness of breath, also dealing with any parts of the body that's the excretory and reproductive system. The ruler of Libra is sitting in the 2nd house in Cancer, dealing with nurturing the stomach. So there's also something dealing with either the food that they're eating behind your back and consuming it more so, that you should be aware of, that you need to focus on. All right. So, check their little snack bags and check their little stuff. They probably consuming something that's not really good for them, that their body's not being, that is not digesting as supposed to. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, y'all. As you can see, your boy was with y'all the whole 3 hours. You know why? Because I love y'all. We gonna do this at least once a month to make sure that I stay in contact with y'all. And also, this gives me an opportunity to be nosy about your life. So even though y'all away from me, I'll be able to peek into your life and see exactly what the mother y'all been doing. All right. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe. Thanks again. Appreciate y'all. For all those on the YouTube channel, if you want to become a member, you know what to do. You can join and you could be on this chat with us as we talk, instead of being somebody who's talking just in that. And upgrade yourself to Astro Tribe or a Cosmic Tribe. And we'll be doing this thing. Y'all be safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
All right, no problem.